In this episode, we're going to be talking about a tool and a concept that I call your emotional map. And this is the fastest way to align with the energy and frequency of anything and everything that you desire. You ready? Let's do it. Hello, you are listening to the Love Your Life as a Performer podcast. I'm Kelly Youngman, and I am the life coach for performers. I help actors, singers, and dancers love themselves and their lives way more. So keep listening to learn how you can love your life both on and off the stage. Hello, and welcome back to episode 54 of the Love Your Life as a Performer podcast. Okay, now that I have officially went Instagram official, as my friend said, I am so madly in love right now. And to be completely honest, it kind of came out of nowhere, a little bit unexpected. And this is not what this week's podcast is about. And I want to just offer you that whether you're dating, you're in a relationship, or you're looking for a partner, I'm literally going to do a whole podcast about this when I feel ready to share my insight and wisdom and knowledge. But the thing is, right, it's so simple how we get what we are being. We receive the kind of love that we are giving ourselves. We receive and become an energetic match when we are allowing ourselves to meet ourselves at the highest and to tap into the frequency of the love you want to receive. And after going through a breakup and transition period, and honestly, like still in transition right now, right? And it's so fun when you release the rules, the societal norms, the expectations, and you're in the present moment, when you're not projecting into the future, when you're not rushing ahead to where you're going to be, when you're really living in the pleasure of what's available to you. It is magical and life-changing. And it truly gets to feel like the better it gets, the better it gets. And so, like I said, again, I feel like even in my previous relationship that was almost 9 years, I learned so freaking much about myself and my partner and the relationship and what it means to be in love. Like I grew in that relationship so much. And now I'm literally in the healthiest, most nurturing, compassionate, supportive, just truly the most present love I've ever experienced. And it's not as a result of pushing away or resisting or resenting where I was in any way. It's come as a result of staying aligned with the future, staying aligned with how I knew I was always going to feel in the partnership that I was going to be in, the kind of wild love that I've always been desiring and dreaming about, right? It came from aligning with the vibration and the frequency of what I wanted to experience. And so actually that does align with this next episode and what we're going to talk about today. And just know I am like floating on cloud 9 right now. And so if you see me like just beaming 10 times brighter, just know it's that love bubble. It's just truly being in expansion of having anything and everything that you desire. So yeah, last thing I'll say before I go into the episode, I'm going to talk about relationships. And I have a few other podcast topics that I already have in the queue. The thing that I'm always going to say first and foremost is that this work is available to you now. Don't wait until the next podcast or the next one or the next one resonates with you. Just know that you can be living the life of your dreams. And I don't care how cliche it sounds, when you learn what it feels like to honor the fuck out of yourself, to learn to trust your own intuition and your own fuck yes, when you're not outsourcing how you feel, when you're not delegating responsibility to other people to create the experience you want to have, your entire life becomes clearer, more intentful, and you really do get to be the creative director of your life, the relationship, the lifestyle, the kind of money, the kind of career, the kind of house, I don't know, kind of car, literally anything you can imagine about your life. You are the creative director. You are the one in control, and you are literally the only person who can craft your life for you. And if you don't know how to do that yet, that is literally what I do as a life coach. I help you uncover and come back to your biggest truths, your biggest desires, and move towards them with the biggest fucking belief. When you are doing that, that's when you will see everything you've been dreaming of in your actual lived-in experience. And so right now at this moment, because the paradigm is in session, there are two ways to work with me. You can either join us inside of the Performers Plan, which you get lifetime access. You can guarantee that you are supported for the rest of your career. Or if you want a really deep dive, I also have one-on-one spots available where we work together for 6 months at a time. Every week we meet for an hour, and it's you and me fully focused with love on your brain to identify the limiting beliefs, the things that are keeping you small so that you can start living your biggest fucking life. I promise you, the better it gets, the better it gets. And my clients are killing it. This is your invitation to step in and just love your fucking life. If you are literally not obsessed with your life right now, if you're in transition, totally understandable. And you want to be moving towards a life that you fucking love. And if you don't know how to do it, again, that is my job. That is what I do. It is my freaking specialty. So let's freaking go. Okay. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a concept that I've been sharing with my clients and something that's been really resonating with them. And I finally just put a name to it. This is an emotional map. And we're going to talk about it today. And I sort of actually already alluded to it in the intro in terms of identifying how you are going to feel when you have the thing that you're desiring. Okay. And so one of the things to remember and to keep in mind, I've said it before, I will continue to say it again and again and again. The only reason that we want something in our lives ever is because of how we think we are going to feel in the having of it. The magical thing about this is that in order to create, receive, experience something in our lives, we have to be willing to be in the belief, to be in the frequency of it, to keep moving towards it. Whether it's a Broadway contract, the love of your life, your dream body, literally whatever circumstance you are wanting to create, just know that the reason that you want it is because of how you think it's going to make you feel. Now, when we talk about creating and manifesting and receiving and allowing the universe to support you in the creation of it, it's really important to know that scientifically it is now proven that when you are experiencing heart-brain coherence, when you are experiencing love, when you are in a state of thriving rather than survival, you start emitting a frequency that quite literally makes you a magnet to the things that you desire, because you are literally becoming the feeling of the accomplishment before it even arrives. And I know this firsthand because this is exactly how I manifested my Broadway debut. I would sit in my room until I could feel the embodied feeling of how I imagined it would feel to get the call from my agents. And I used to sit there with my eyes closed and bring it into such tangible felt emotions that I would literally be crying tears of joy. And it's not a coincidence that those feelings, those practices helped me draw in my Broadway debut in less than 6 months. So I want you to think about whatever the current goal for you is, whether it's having savings, whether it's booking your next contract, whether it's a Broadway show or a commercial or literally anything, right? When we go to the feeling space of having that thing, we become a magnet for the circumstance to come into our life. Not only by happenstance, not only as a fluke thing, but as a creation, as an intentional creation. When you are feeling the way you think you will feel with the thing, you amplify and draw it towards you. So let's stick with the Broadway debut as, an example, or even just a Broadway contract. That's like personally what I'm manifesting right now for myself is my next Broadway contract. So for me, and when you're using the emotional map, the first question you want to ask yourself is, how would I feel if this happened now? How would I feel if it was happening now? Because again, the magic and the beauty of doing this exercise is it's not that we're keeping something somewhere far off in the distance. We're like bringing it into us now so that we're experiencing it in real time. So for myself, when I think about, performing on Broadway again and getting to do a show 8 times a week, I can feel the excitement in my chest. I can feel the lightheartedness. I can feel the playfulness. I can feel the collaboration and the sound of the applause at curtain call, right? Like I can hear and feel and imagine and see it so clearly with so much certainty. And so for me, and this is an exercise you'll do for yourself too, is you want to identify what are the top 3 emotions that I think I would feel if I had the thing that I wanted. So for me, if I knew I signed a Broadway contract today, I would feel, let me actually do this in real time and get honest. I would feel so fun. I would feel excited, and I would also be just so expansive, or at least that's how I perceive that I would feel. Fun, excited, and expansive, right? So that is the emotional map. It's getting super clear on what are the feelings that allow me to align with receiving the things that I want. So for me, again, Broadway contract, I'd be feeling fun, excited, and expansive. So now when you identify the top 3 emotions you would be feeling if you had whatever you wanted, right? Maybe if it's money, you'd feel secure and stable and generous. Or maybe if it was, a healthy relationship with food, you'd feel relaxed, intentional, at peace, right? You want to get clear on the top 3 emotions, which are going to become your emotional map. And the way that you engage and use this map is that you start finding all the ways you have access to those feelings today, right? I don't actually need a Broadway contract to feel fun, excited, and expansive, right? There's many other places in my life that I can draw on to help stir up those emotions in my body. And there's also ways that I can find those feelings in other areas of my life without it literally needing to come from my performing career, right? It's really fun to be able to find those thoughts and feelings that generate your emotional map with the topic that you're feeling or thinking about. And it's important to remember that no matter what, it's not literal. So whenever you're feeling the emotions, that's when you know that you're an energetic match to the things that you want to receive. I was talking to a client about this, and they've been killing it in their business. They're now working a goal of 25K per month in their business. And they were telling me that it's been really easy for them to facilitate this feeling of effervescence that is one of their emotional maps to booking their next professional acting contract. And so we were talking about this experience of effervescence, what it feels like in their body to feel bubbly and light and certain. And so their concern was like, well, I've been able to feel it in my business when I'm signing clients, but it's really hard to access when I'm thinking about my acting career. And what I told them was like, that is not a problem because one, it literally doesn't matter if you're thinking about acting or your business or making money or your dog, literally anywhere that you put your focus that creates effervescence, then you can attach the idea that when you feel effervescent or when you feel excited or when you feel literally insert any emotion that is your unique emotional map, anytime you're feeling those emotions, regardless of the subject, you're still aligning in the proper frequency to receive, right? And I know I've talked about this before, but let me just clarify that when we're talking about frequency, I want you to imagine, again, this is scientifically proven, that every thought we think has a frequency. The same way we set our radio dial to 92.3 and then we can hear music coming in, right? The same is true for our thoughts. There's a literal vibration and frequency that is created when we are thinking a thought. And so if we want to be using that to our advantage, if we want to be powerfully creating, we want to be aligning our thoughts with the thing that we want to receive. So again, we can borrow the vibration, the frequency, the focus on literally anything that's going well that allows us to have access to our emotional map for our benefit, right? It doesn't have to be literal. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they want to book their next show or they want to book their next contract and they're thinking and focusing on it so much, like intellectually looking at it, but they're not paying attention to the emotional map. So that's where they're finding a misalignment or not receiving the thing that they want to have. This is how people can go their entire careers and never actually create the result and never actually have the thing that they're wanting to create. Not because they're not talented, only because they have not actually aligned energetically in the right frequency of what's being created, right? So you might be focusing intellectually or with your thoughts on having your dream career, but if energetically, emotionally, if in your body it feels like shit every time you're thinking about your career, it's just so clear that you're not utilizing your emotional map. Because if you were, you know that that's the least effective way to draw the experiences you want to have towards you, right? Again, we are the radio. We are the creators. You are literally the creator of your career based on the frequency you're emitting, based on the vibrational output of your thoughts and energy. And it's not to say that it's good, bad, right, or wrong when you're not there. It's just valuable information, right? But that is literally the difference. If you're thinking about what you want, but the energy you're feeling is like, it's not here yet, it's taking too long, I don't know if I'm good enough, I don't know if my agents are even paying attention to me, no one wants to help me, right? If your energy and your thoughts are there, imagine the frequency you're putting out. It's totally different from when you actually are thinking about having the thing that you want. When I'm thinking about my next Broadway show, the emotional map is such a valuable tool because if I'm feeling any sense of longing or doubt or uncertainty, I know that I'm not in the frequency of actually having my next contract, right? Because again, for me, My next Broadway contract aligns with fun, excitement, and expansion. Totally different frequencies. Okay, so just to recap, the emotional map is your path forward. Again, no matter what circumstance and or result you want to create, we want all of these things in our life because of how we think they're going to make us feel. And the fastest way to be in belief before results is to align how you think you will feel then and start feeling it now. Feeling and identifying the top 3 emotions that you would have when you have the thing. Again, literally doesn't matter what it is. This applies to everything. When you start identifying and playing with, well, how would I be different if I already had the experience? What are the top 3 emotions that I would be feeling? And how can I find ways to access those feelings now? Because the sooner you do, the sooner you are setting your radio station to what you want to receive. That's when it can come in quickly because there's no resistance and because you're being so clear with yourself and with the universe about what you're wanting to experience. When you drop the wishy-washiness, when you drop overthinking, overanalyzing, and just come back to the simplicity of the emotional map, you are immediately in the receptive mode. You are able to receive what you've been asking for. But if you keep telling yourself that what you want is not available, not only are you not utilizing your emotional map, if you do take the moment to assess it, you'll see so clearly that the emotional map is not leading you to what you want to experience, to what you want to receive. Okay, so the emotional map is identifying the top 3 emotions that you think you will feel when you have the thing. Because spoiler alert, it doesn't always feel the way we think it's going to feel, right? We could be wrong about that. And we just want to get clear on what are the closest 3 emotions that I would genuinely be feeling if this thing happened? And how can I give myself permission to feel that today? Again, about literally any subject. And then you can start applying and learning and finding ways to feel so certain about what's coming next in your career. This is literally the work I do in all of my containers and especially in the Performers Plan to get you on board with believing in the things you want to accomplish. So I'm always going to tell you to come join us inside of the Performers Plan. It is a guaranteed way to tether to your career for the rest of your life, right? You have access to bi-weekly coaching calls, to Ask a Coach, to the program, to the community, so that you can surround yourself with other people who are actively believing in what they want to create and releasing the limitations of what their brain keeps offering. This is literally the work that we do together so that you can utilize and have the skill of emotional maps for the rest of your career, right? This is the way you create anything and everything that you desire. And I will meet you back here for another episode. Hey, I want to invite you to get started because if this is blowing your mind, imagine the impact of when we actually work together. If you're committed to loving your life as an actor, singer, or dancer, come join us inside of the Performers Plan. You get lifetime access to the program, the community, and high-quality coaching for the rest of your career. Go to kellyyoungmanwellness.com/the Performers Plan to join us now. I'll see you inside.